Okay, so we are going to learn how to use the REST API to query a model that is indexed on Teamwork Cloud. So the test that we're going to do is we're going to check to see how many requirements are in the model. So let's go ahead and look at our requirements table. This is the model that we're going to do. So we should have something comparable to what we see here when we run the query. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do in order to show this is we need to have a model that is indexed. So let's jump over to Teamwork Cloud. So I'm going to jump back to, so this is the standard Teamwork Cloud that you get to, and then let's go to Settings and Index Management. And so when we're in here, we can see the SysML v2 API querying. And we can see that the SAR drone problem domain model M8 is indexed. But I did a manual index. I didn't do an automated index. Automated is better, but it is really up to your IT the best way. So if you do manual, the trick is you have to make sure that you're not, that you're either have already indexed the latest or that you're not calling one that you haven't indexed yet, or else it will return nothing. So this was something that I ran into when I ran this because I had committed the model after this time and I was trying to get to the latest. So um, just make sure that you're using one. We're using an earlier commit in order to make that work. So once you have an indexed model, and again, you could do this pretty easily by just hitting plus SysML v2 API querying. And then if we go to, let's just say M7, for instance, I could I could then query this model. I could set it for automatic, or I could set it for manual. And if I wanted to start the indexing, I could go ahead and I could start that. And we can see that the indexing is running right now. I'm going to go ahead and delete this because I don't want to have it running right now. And I'm going to just hit refresh for good measure. Okay, so now that we have this, the next thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that we have a Jupyter Notebook set up. Okay, if you need to know how to set this up, look at some of my previous videos and we where I walked through how to set up Jupyter Notebook. Okay, so these are some boilerplate things that you'll need to add, such as your Teamwork Cloud server, the username and ID, and then I'm using a client to run the session for these first portions, but then later I'm changing to use something a little bit different in order to do the querying. Okay, so you'll want to run these cells, and then I get the project that I want. In this case, I'm doing M8. Okay, and then I get the commits. So we can see, let's see. So let's grab this ID and let's go ahead and run it here. And we can run this and it will give us our commits. And we can see that we've got 31 commits shown here. But if we look back at our model, the one um, that we need to actually be looking at is an earlier version of this. But it looks the same. It's just that this one hasn't been indexed, so we couldn't do commit 31. So we're doing, I think it is commit 22 based on the timestamp, which I don't think we have here, but I think it's either 22 or maybe even 21. So, oh, okay, so we do have the timestamps here. So Um, yeah. So once you have the commit ID, you take that commit ID and you would be passing it at the end of this query down here. And full disclosure, in order to set some of this up, I used a couple of different AIs to kind of help me with the REST API because it is new for me. I'm starting to get the hang of it, but a REST API is something that almost all of the AIs are pretty familiar with. So you can use the one of your choice. The one I've been using is Claude. It's been the best for me. So I'm using this commit ID here. Okay, and then let's scroll back over here. I had Claude write this for me. We have these specific headers, um, and then we have this the query URL. So it's calling the particular project, and then the commit ID, and it's running query results. Query results, if you go into Swagger, this is the one that we need in order to query the model in a specific way. And these queries, um, again, are like pulling information from like a SQL database. Something similar to that is my understanding. Someone correct me in the comments if I have that wrong, but here's what the query looks like. You pass in the type, we're doing a query. Select, so this is going to return all of these. We're going to say for whatever we say and where, we want you to return all of these attributes. And then the where is we're using the primitive constraint. This is kind of boilerplate. For a singular, you'd use like a composite constraint if you were adding two different types of queries together. But right now, this is just primitive. And inverse is false because we want exactly what we're saying, the equal operator, and a type of requirement usage. So this should return all the requirement usages in my model. The next part is the query response. And so we can see I'm using client.session.post. The session refers back to what we used up here, and we have instructions. It's referring to this session that we start here with the Teamwork Cloud password. We have instructions for this um, in a mixture of the documentation, and then this py eval has some instructions on how to set this up. And I'll make another video in the future on exactly how to do this. Okay, so once you do this, um, we we have we're passing in our query input, our headers, and the query URL. And so now this essentially runs that query. And then we're just doing, there's a little bit of troubleshooting and things in here left over from Claude. And then there's some formatting on the response. So I'm basically building out a table here. So we can see that we have 12, 12 requirements. We have their IDs and we have their documentation. And we can see if we open up the model, we have this similarly. They're out of order in this case, but you could filter them. Um, so yes, so this is an example. I will post this query so that you can, no pun intended, posting the post query. And so I'll provide this Jupyter Notebook file so that you can all have access to this and test this out on your own servers. Hope you enjoy.